This is a Zoom recorder. I record a podcast on it every couple of weeks. Podcast is called Good Grief by Mark 100 Days. So today, I'd like you to be part of my podcast when we share my big idea. So I'm going to turn this thing on, and when I say 1, 2, 3, I'd like you to go, this is Good Grief by Mark 100 Days. Do you think you can do that? I'm going to turn it on now. You were supposed to go yes at that point. So it'll just blur up for a second. You ready to go?
Yes.
This is good.
Oh, no, that's a bit later. Okay, after me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
This is Good Grief by Martin Vogt.
Oh, God. This goes to 23 countries, not Rottnest. Can we give it a bit louder?
Give it.
1, 2, 3.
Say it slowly. I don't know what it's supposed to say.
Well, I won't count to 3. That's easy.
No, what are we saying?
Oh, this is Good Grief by Martin, 100 Days.
Good grief. Okay.
No. Right, I'll count to 3. I've only got 10 minutes. 1, 2, 3.
This is Good Grief by Martin 100 Days.
Fantastic. That's great. I'll put this down here and carry on. Okay, so my big idea. Give me some free advice. Confession, it's not an idea I just had. I had this idea, I guess, 5 years ago. See, you're not witnessing a big idea. You're at the beginning of a movement. And you're part of it. And I want you to share your free advice and encourage others to share that with you. Now, this is a preview, so I don't expect you to submit your free advice to me today. But I do suggest that you are witnessing the start of something which Seth Godin would call a purple cow. That's something that stands out. When you drive along the freeway and you see all the cows, I think that's pretty nice. Now drive a few more k's down the road, all of a sudden, you don't even see the cows. But if a purple one popped out, you would. This is a purple cow. Everything you see up here I drew, I felt or I thought. So all the images I created over the last 5 years. Been quite a journey. And we're all on a bit of a journey. I was at the bus stop the other day, a lady walked up to me and she tapped me on the shoulder. She goes, I can see you've been on a bit of a journey. I was quite taken back and I went, I can't believe you said that. Why did you say that? She handed me my bus pass. The self-help industry is worth $38 billion in 2025. That's what the projection is. It's massive. There's some titles up there of books that I listened and on Audible. And some of my heroes and champions. But you'll know people like Anthony Robbins, and you'll know Eckhart Tolle and Oprah. Well, Stephen Kotler does a thing on flow. Tim Ferriss has got a number of books. He's got a podcast. But I started my journey because I got to Tools of Times. You know, there's Oliver Burkeman with his 4,000 weeks talking about time. All of these books are giving us advice about one thing or another. Why not you? Why don't you share your advice and let people find you? Well, that's my goal. More than a goal, it is happening now. Here's a book I wrote, You're Not Lost, You're Here. Now, it took me 5 years to write this and get it out. Inside the book, there's a bunch of illustrations, again, the ones you see on the screen, and there's also advice to self. So while I was going through my journey of recovery, I sought out things that would help me through the journey. And what I found is since the book's become public, and people are buying it on Amazon, $30 by the way, they're getting something very different out of it than I expected. Because take the introduction and the ending out of it, it's advice for everyone. And all of these things apply. I'll take you through some of them. So this is my advice to you. My free advice for $30. So when I get out of the way of myself, it's amazing what I can do. I joined Rostrum because I wanted to be a better public speaker. Now, no disrespect to anyone sitting in the stands, but an opportunity arises for me to talk, and if this is my goal, then I need to get up and practice what I aim to do. I do this on a Friday night, and sometimes during the week as well, with a few open mic comedy nights as well. So, you know, it's all part of the same journey for me. If you don't like the story, change the story. How often do we find ourselves getting bogged down with the story that we tell ourselves? When quite simply, something that's a bad experience could just be a learning curve. There might be a lesson there, something to take away and grow from. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing helpful? I don't know how many times you found yourself in a situation where you're behaving in a particular way. It's not for anyone's benefit, and all you're doing is damage. We can quite simply get out of the way of ourselves. Keep our mouth shut. Winning the argument isn't going to save the relationship. Spend time with people that nurture you. Now this is pretty obvious. As you get older and older, it's more critical because we're all running out of time. How many relationships do you stick with that are just not healthy anymore? Maybe they just literally run out. You know, great experience for a time, and then all of a sudden you get to a point, time to say goodbye. I've just broken up with a lifelong friend. Real shame, very sad. It was just too hard to carry it on. None of us were benefiting from our interactions. And we're much more than our most difficult times. You know, as you get older, you're going to lose people on the way. Tragedy's going to happen, you're going to lose jobs, relationships are going to break down. We can get stuck there, or it's a doorway to the rest of our life. Because this is a gift, you know, we got the golden ticket. We're the little tadpole that got all the way through. All the rest of them had to swim away and sit back on the bench, wait for another go. But we got through, so why waste it on all this bad feeling and disappointment? It's just life's journey. So what advice are you going to give me when you share it? Because there are so many categories. Now, what I found recently when I asked people to give me some advice, I got some videos from friends and they all gave me big life advice. Now, one of my friends, I'll show you his picture in a minute, he's a cancer victim and he survived. And he told me about the hits that life offers on the way and, you know, don't give up and there's always tomorrow. And celebrate your wins, celebrate your failures. But, you know, don't put dishwashing liquid in the dishwasher. I just said, if you don't like the story, change the story. But there's still a sign on my dishwasher that says don't use because my dishwasher doesn't work. That could be some free advice. That's why they've got little talents. And then there's all the other categories. There's anything you can think of. Health and well-being, there's ageing well, there's activity, there's religion, there's recovery, there's alcoholism, drug abuse, goes on and on. So what are you passionate about that you want to share? And you'll be invited to play in this game. I want you to visualise where this could go. I walk into a school and I talk to some children at school and I say, give me some free advice. They're 13 years old. They haven't lived that long, but they know stuff. And what they see through their lens is going to be different than what I see. Now, they share their advice and we collate this and we put it together in a yearbook. We go to the aged care home. I'll be doing this in a few weeks, having the same conversation. What advice are you going to get from these people? They're in their twilight years. I think you might get the picture where this is going. The guy sitting on the side of the street, sitting down next to him, how powerful would that be, asking him that question? Give me some free advice. I wonder when the last person asked him for some free advice. There's a sportsman that gets a career-threatening injury that may never play again. What would he say? The soldiers coming back from a war-torn country to their family, what advice would they give us about all the damage that they've seen? And there's my friend, Sensei Glenn Coxon. Got the world record for breaking boards, 1,000 boards at under I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, whatever it was, a lot. And then it's what are you happy to share? Because the free advice that you give me, I'm going to put it out in the public arena. Okay, people will be able to find you. Because you'll be in a podcast, you'll be in a book, or you'll be in a performance like this, I'll get you on stage. So just share what you're happy to hear. I'll get a photo of you, I'll find out what you're about, and in under 300 words I want to know what your free advice is. And here's an example of the book. That's my son up there. And his free advice is just be a good friend. So I invite you. Give me some free advice.